All right, we quickly move on to the next. Next is a brilliant topic. It's a fireside chat that we call. And I have three brilliant speakers coming up onto the stage. Of course, two panel and one moderator. The topic is the new India home beyond metros. And to talk about it, I exactly have the perfect panel coming right up. The first one coming to the chair is somebody who's built one of India's leading tech-enabled home. The interior brand to call, I think most of the Indians today in their home knows about the brand, and we call it the HomeLane, who's also supposed to be one of our gold partner today. Our speaker is a serial entrepreneur with over 30 years of experience. Under his leadership, HomeLane has expanded over 30 cities today and more, and developing thousands of homes annually. Ladies and gentlemen, with pleasure, may I please request the co-founder and CEO of HomeLane, Srikanth Iyer, ladies and gentlemen. Well, joining Mr. Srikanth is another veteran, somebody who brings in over 21 years of global leadership experience across consumer goods, fashion, and retail industry. Currently serving as the CEO of Urban Ladder, where he is leading the next phase of growth and transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. CEO, Urban Ladder, Mr. Vivek Mehta, to kindly come and join us, please. You could keep the claps a little louder. I'm sure you can do that. Yeah. And lastly, a solid panel requires a solid moderator as well. I want to call upon somebody who's a founder of NuVentures, an early stage investment fund with portfolio spanning over 40 companies. He's also the founder of NuWare, a US-based IT solution, and currently serving as the president, TiE Bangalore. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for managing partner, NuVenture and NuWare, Venk Krishnan.
Anyway, I think first I want to thank all of you. I was really amazed when I walked in, and this is after taking over as president of TiE. This is the first event which I'm witnessing, and I was really energized to see so many people. And I think big kudos to our internal team for putting this together, because this is a thankless job which we do, and I think we need to give them a big applause for putting this together. So that being said, I think, we have two very accomplished people here, and it'll be, I don't think that I can do justice. If I do a moderation, I would rather do a discussion, right? Because I think I want Srikanth and Vivek to have a conversation. I'll interject wherever I can. But I think to set the context, and I want to be transparent, I'm an investor in Srikanth's company. When I moved back from the US in 2000, maybe 7 or 8, and then when I started investing, I think I met Srikanth. I was very amazed at his passion. He looked much younger then, but but more hair. But I think I would say that this was one of the blockbuster investment we have done. And we are looking forward to getting exits out of that. But that being said, Urban Ladder, Rajiv, again, this was a company which we were evaluating, Axel and other companies were evaluating at that time. But for various reasons, we couldn't get in. But what Urban Ladder has done is they have created a name. Today, if you look at buying furniture, right? One of the first name which comes to your mind is Urban Ladder. Right? If you look at, and I think they have done an amazing job, and eventually got acquired by RIL. But we are very fortunate to have you here. That being said, I think one of the things I was thinking, and I was talking to Srikanth and Vivek yesterday, was how do we take this forward? I think we have a lot of entrepreneurs here, a lot of people who are looking at opportunities in the homepreneur space. Right? So I want to make sure that the conversation goes towards you, right? Conversations where you will have a lot of input. But before that, we need to set the context. So with that, I think we are going to look at three areas. One is technology. How is technology helping them? what are the supply chain dynamics in the furniture and those kind of spaces? And in the interior design, what are the opportunities for entrepreneurs out there? And these are the three areas we would like to cover. With that said, I'm going to ask Srikanth. Srikanth, where do you see the opportunity for young entrepreneurs who are looking to build in this space?
Sure. Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me here. I've been part of this industry now for about 11 and a half years. I started HomeLane about 11 and a half years back. And though I am a computer science engineer, I'm not an interior designer. Been in various industries. I see Shanbag here. The first company which I started actually was around the same time that Shanbag also started, which was in complete IT hardware, but been through various industries and landed somehow in interior design. By the way, the story goes that when I wanted to start HomeLane, I first discussed it with my family, and my wife was the most shocked. She said, you know what, you haven't bought a sofa in your own house till today, you're going to start an interior design company. But then, yeah, here I am. We've done about 60,000 homes in the last 11 and a half years. We deliver about 1,000 homes a month now, and we are present in about 40 cities. So to me, I'll probably be a little more on the interior design lens because I've been closer to that industry. To me, that opportunity there is very, very large today. India is a market. I think we saw Naresh's talk today. 1 or 2 points for me. I think the size of the market is never a problem in India. I think, so I've met some of you who are in this space, and whenever I've discussed it, I've always felt that the market size in India is always huge. I mean, companies are built just making a single SKU, which can actually give them hundreds of crores of revenue and profitable ones at that. I mean, we have seen enough companies do that. Premiumization is here to stay. So first point to me is that the Indian market, at least the home market, the consumer market is extremely deep. So the first thing I would say would be choose a niche which you think you are good at or the consumer needs and just go deep with that niche. I've always believed that you're better known for doing one single thing rather than being a jack of, let's say, 10 different things, because I think then the identity becomes a little bit difficult, especially when you're starting off, which is exactly what we also did. When we started HomeLane 11 and a half years back, we said, we will only do customized furniture. We won't, there was already Urban Ladder present then, there was Pepperfry, there were a few others who were already present, Royal Oak, etc. And we said, we don't want to get into the product industry. We only want to do customized furniture. So it was very counterintuitive. The supply chain, I think that was one of the points Venk was making. If you look at sofas, cots, beds, etc., you first make the product and then you sell the product. In our business, first you sell it and then you make the product. So it's actually exact reverse in terms of supply chain. But I said that there is no player in this space. We don't want to try and compete in a market which already has large players and has a different supply chain behavior. We would prefer to stick to a niche which actually is customized furniture, customized kitchens, customized wardrobes, etc., where there are not too many people. I think that helped us. And that's the first piece of advice I would give to any entrepreneur, which means stick to a specific segment in your industry and go deeper. That's a much better chance of success than going wider. That's really one thing that I would say.
Thanks, Srikanth. I think I was very surprised, Srikanth. The other day I went to Ranchi for some personal thing, and I saw, as soon as I came to the airport, I saw HomeLane. I was thrilled to see that. So you're spread all over India very well. That being said, coming back to Vivek, I think Vivek and his team has built a brand, everybody looks up to. But there are a lot of challenges in this. And I think today, I would think I'm going to stick my neck out and say maybe they're a category leader in this space to a large extent in terms of buying furniture online, right? So that being said, I think the biggest challenge in this space is how do you take care of the unit economics? How do you make yourself profitable, right? Because the demands from customers are, sometimes very difficult to fulfill. That being said, Vivek, can you elaborate a bit on how you guys go about, making sure that you're a profitable company, but at the same time giving the best service to your customer?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. So just picking on what was spoken about earlier in terms of opportunities, the category that we play in, which is furniture, obviously is a huge category in India. It's anywhere 30-40 billion dollars. And one of the challenges that everybody speaks about is, still the organized play in this category is a very small component. And you see $40 billion on one end, and most of the players are 500,000, 2,000 crores. So why is there not a big, large-scale player in this category? What has been the challenge in unit economics? And I've been part of this category for the last couple of years, and I can share some insights of what I've learned in the last few years in this. Firstly, I think it's a long tail category. When we say long tail, everybody has a different choice. Somebody likes a green sofa, somebody likes a pink sofa. So to really service the needs of the consumer, at least the classic theory says that you need to have a wide assortment, and with the wide assortment, you'll have to service the needs of the different consumers. Srikanth obviously took a different approach, which was all customized. And we are more of an inventory model. We make our products, we are a brand. So our choice was really, how do we really position ourselves in this long tail category? Do we become like a marketplace where we bring in, products from all across the country from different suppliers and sell like what Amazon or Flipkart is doing? Or do we create a brand which stands for something, which has a positioning which is unique, and it builds aspiration and desire in minds of the consumer? So firstly, I think the first problem to solve was to build that aspiration for the brand which stands for strong aesthetics, strong design, backed with great quality, great product, and great experience for the consumer. So to me, I think the first equation that needs to be solved in this whole profitability equation is getting the demand right, getting your positioning right for the brand, getting your product right, and getting the experience right. And experience becomes all the more important in this category, unlike other consumer categories, because there's a delivery which is fairly involved, and there's an installation experience, there's a post-purchase experience that you need to take care of as well. So to me, the first thing is to get the demand sorted, get a position in the minds of the consumer that they look up to when they're considering buying this category. We started off as an online player, but over the years, we have kind of become more and more omni-channel. Today, more of our sales comes from our offline stores, relatively smaller percentages coming from online. And I'll tell you the reason behind that. Obviously, this is a touch and feel category. You don't want to buy a 1 lakh rupee piece of furniture without really experiencing the product. Initial days when we were a pure play online player, our CACs used to be fairly high, and that was one of the components in the CAC, meaning customer acquisition cost. People didn't know, they wanted to try products that they were seeing on the website. And initially we used to see a fair amount of purchases which were causing some dissatisfaction. It was not fitting into their rooms. It was not going with their decors. So returns was another problem when we were a pure play online brand, So returns and CAC tended to be challenging for the unit economics. And Urban Ladder has its shares of learnings along the way over the last several years. The second part of the unit economics is the supply chain cost that Venk touched on. This is a big, bulky product. And as much as it looks like a strong product, it's probably one of the most fragile products. A little chip that you see on a table will cause a return, which will add to your, transportation cost and delivery costs. So the second part was getting the, the supply chain cost. When we started, when you're selling a 10, 20,000 rupee product and you're incurring 1,500, 2,000 rupees in deliveries, that supply chain cost used to be as high as 20-25% when we started off. So a lot of, so you think of CAC, which was, fairly high, putting pressure on the unit economics. Then there's the supply chain cost, which was running 20-25% of our overall revenue initially. And that was essentially mainly, because of sometimes reverse logistics, getting the product right, installation, customer is not available at home. You have to schedule, the guy goes there and he says, come back later someday. This is not like a small parcel that you can just leave outside the home or leave with the guard. You need to make sure the calendars are aligned. So a lot of work we have done over the last several years using technology, leveraging technology, putting a lot of focus on quality checks along the entire supply chain, which has brought those supply chain costs, which used to be at 1.20-25% down to 10-12% right now. So with the CACs coming down, because of the stores that we have opened all across the country, because of the product love or the brand love that we have been able to create, and the supply chain costs coming down, gross margins in this category tend to be anywhere from 35 to 60%, depending on which segment you're targeting. So you get these two pieces in place, your customer acquisition cost, your supply chain cost, I think, and your overall, marketing, organization, all of those things in place, and the business starts to kind of make more sense and become profitable. So that's the journey we have seen. We saw quite a few hurdles and turbulent weather along the way, but we're in a much better place today. And I think a lot of it is because of the brand love and product love and the experience that we have given to the consumers.
Thanks. But I think the bigger question is, do you ever think your category will become a quick commerce player? Because, can I get a chair delivered in 5-10 minutes?
If we can load up a sofa on a scooter, maybe yes. But since,
the reason I ask that is because everything is quick today, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Right? But, the way Zeptos of the world and Blinkits of the world have changed our thinking, right? Today, it's all about, the last moment, So
I think that's the consumer definitely more so in the metros is very, very demanding. They want like the product yesterday. But one other aspect that I didn't really touch on is the inventory holding and the storage costs that are involved in this big bulky products. A lot of that adds up to your cost, and if you have to provide this, in within a few hours, a few minutes, if you will, then you need to have these products stocked closer to the consumer demand, and that storage costs can add up very quickly. So I think we have taken a little bit of the approach that Srikanth touched on. How do we make some of these products either make to order or configured to order, which reduces the burden of warehousing and the inventory costs, and still able to service the needs of the consumer in a reasonable time. We're not looking at like a month of wait or 15 days of wait, but we can turn around a configured to order product today in a few days.
No, I think I'll come back to you on that. But Srikanth, from your vantage point, right, you are helping people and helping consumers build their home, interior design. Isn't this a natural progression for you to get into a space like Urban Ladder? Because you are designing their, obviously partnership is another thing, but isn't that a segue for you in the long run?
Actually, no. As we speak today, my current thinking is very clear. We are very different businesses from a supply chain perspective, and I'll give you 2-3 data points. Vivek was just talking about inventory, etc. I know the Urban Ladder business well enough, seen it for many, many years. Typically, anybody in the furniture business, which are in the products business, keeps about a 3 to 4 month inventory. That's what you will need to keep for you to make sure that you have enough to service your customers, because you kind of have a prediction engine which will tell you, it'll be depend on seasonality, it'll depend on, sometimes the spike will happen during Diwali, just before Diwali, etc., etc. So you will have all those prediction engines, but the inventory cost would be somewhere between 3 and 4 months of your total sales. So if you're doing, say, 100 crores of a month, you'll need 300 to 400 crores of inventory to be kept, right? Anybody wants to take a guess as to what's the inventory we keep today as HomeLane? We deliver, obviously, kitchens. Thankfully, I can confidently say, coming to the quick commerce solution, people want something in the kitchen for 10 minutes. They don't want the kitchen itself in 10 minutes so far. I hope it doesn't get there.
I think it'll change. I think the way the Indian consumer is going, I think I wouldn't. I was really surprised that I could buy a Bluetooth speaker in 10 minutes and the best speakers. So I'm saying, I don't know where we are going with this quick commerce. So I think that is something to be thought about.
Anyway, so coming back, our inventory, first of all, we stock wood, engineered wood, laminates, etc. as inventory. We do not ever have any product where the inventory is required for more than 10 days. That's all. Simply because ours is all made to order products. So the behavior of the supply chain is very, very different. The cash flow behavior is very, very different. And that's the strength of the industry. There are some negatives also. For example, since we make customized products and they're very high value, every home is about 10 lakh rupees. Do we have repeat customers? Probably not. Right? But Urban Ladder, a business like that, would have repeat and they would depend on that. So the behavior is very, very different. Even though both of them are furniture, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're similar businesses. The businesses are actually very, very different. But if I have to add any, I would look at adjacent businesses in made to order. For example, I would look at a false ceiling business, which is again made to order. It's all made per house. I would look at soft furnishings, say, or anything which is customized to a house would be a good value add and not something which is a complete U-turn on the supply chain, simply because it's a different animal to deal with completely.
No, I agree with that. But maybe one thing I thought about, Vivek, is how come we don't have a national player in this space, right? We have, if you look at the IKEAs of the world, they're all there. But how come we don't have somebody who's a national player? Because if I look at the Western country, they have national players in this space. How come we don't have that?
Firstly, we would like to consider ourselves a national player. Yeah, that's a very good question. The saying in our industry is, the carpenter is still around, the tailor is gone. We used to all get our shirts and pants stitched at one point 20, 30 years back, and now we've all moved to brands and ready-made garments. But the carpenter is still very much around. And the consumer behavior that we have seen is a lot of our customers are actually people still in the country. The people like, maybe a lot of our audience here who have probably moved out from their hometowns, wherever they were living in their, with their parents in their ancestral homes. And now when they're out in a new city, in an urban center, they're looking for somebody who's trustworthy. They don't know this carpenter who had made the bed 20, 30 years back. And that's when Urban Ladder or brands like Urban Ladder or a national player comes to, into their consideration. So while we have started to see a lot of that desire or that aspiration or consideration for these brands and these products in the urban centers, in a lot of these tier 2, 3 cities, still the carpenter is very much in play. That being said, I think it's changing rapidly. If I have to draw the analogy, like, somebody, an investor from the outside might say, everybody, there's no national players, everybody is in this 1,000 crore range in a 30, 40 billion dollar category. I see it as a huge opportunity. We may be 10, 20 years behind apparel maybe, but we see those trends, we see the consumer behavior changing over the last several years. And as I said earlier, the unit economics for a national player were not working out earlier. You know, delivering to a different city from one central warehouse, the logistics would just kill it. But today, I think that's changing fast.
Yeah, I think in the interest of time, we have only 12 minutes. It's staring on us. But Srikanth, and I think we should move to the technology area, right? In terms of technology, what do you see, from your own space? How is technology helping? And is that AI? Because today, no conversation goes without AI, right? They say the big elephant in the room is AI. So how are you leveraging AI? How are you leveraging AI? That is, and then we'll start Q&A.
Sure. So I'll probably cover non-AI first and then move to AI. I have actually got a very interesting actual story on AI and how we started using it and what challenges we are facing. But on the technology front, the one thing that I decided was that has to be the differentiator for HomeLane. We built a software platform where designers and customers could collaborate and actually design the house. So it's like, if you remember the Lego blocks that kids play with, it's like putting Lego blocks together and actually building your interior. And not only do you see it coming alive, but you'll also see the price as you are building the Lego blocks in front of your eyes. So that's kind of the platform that we built. We call it Spacecraft. And that's been being used from 2017 onwards. We took about 3 years to build it, but from then on, we've been using that. Coming to AI, I actually have a very interesting story. So we had this feature where any customer could come onto our website, upload their floor plan of their house, and we give them an instant quote for approximate quote for their house, free of cost. Okay. If they wanted a far more detailed 3D design, drawing, etc., we used to charge them 5,000 rupees for that, which used to get adjusted to the cost of the order if they were buying from us. If they don't buy from us, fair enough, they keep the design, they pay the 5,000 and they go away. So we've been doing this for pretty much about 9 years or so. Once AI came in, we saw that design could actually be done. You don't need a human being, you don't need a designer. And we used to take approximately a day to deliver that design. Previously, when we had a human being designer to talk to a customer. Now come AI, and we then realized we do not even need a human being on the other side to talk to the customer and deliver that 3D design, A. B, what used to take us 1 or 2 days to deliver, now can be delivered in 1 or 2 minutes, right? You will not believe the initial response. The customers said, you have not worked hard enough for me to appreciate the design. I don't believe that you put in the right amount of effort. Why should I pay you 5,000 rupees? I mean, somebody who was paying it very easily just till then started doubting the efficacy of the design simply because they were not seeing a human being on the other side. And that's when we realized that this is not just about putting technology everywhere and then bringing in efficiency. You know what we started doing? We started giving the design 1 day later. And they were fine with it. They said, okay, now we've actually worked on it. Okay, it's the same design, which was, but the fact of the matter is that these are some of the, by the way, I can see the future. I can see the future. I'm sure the same customer in 1 year is going to say, why are you taking 1 full day for the design? Give it to me like the quick commerce. Give it to me in 5 minutes. Okay, so I can see it evolving, but right now, people feel that when there is a human being involved, especially when it comes to designing their own house, it's a very emotional connect. It's not something that you do every day.
Especially in India.
Especially in India. They do want that personalization to come in, and they want a human being on the warm body on the other side, which is actually talking to them, understanding their inputs, etc. So yes, all for AI, must use it, but I think it needs to be used with a customer-centric approach in mind and just not efficiency in mind.
No, I think to add to you, I think AI as a concept or whatever, right? Even if you go to ChatGPT, give you a room, it will give you the design, right? But in a country like India, where people like that, in US, I agree, everything is standard. The kitchen is standard, where the bedroom is standard, right? So AI can do it. But in a country like India, I think we need more human touch. So that's what you value. So Vivek, you're...
Yeah, so I think from in terms of technology, we see we've already started using a fair bit of AI across the different functions. Obviously, our marketing departments are using it to create videos and images and all of those, which needed a full campaign shoot earlier. Now it's kind of being done through AI fairly quickly, and at least the inspirations and the starting points are coming from AI. One very unique thing, and picking on what Srikanth was saying earlier, some part of our demand is coming from new homes where people have a floor plan and they want to just furnish the entire house. But a sizable part is still replacement product. And the first question everybody has is, I have this kind of a brown colored sofa. I need to put an accent chair. What color dining table would go with this? And that visualization used to be a challenge for our store staff or on an online platform. So today, we used to give the dimensions. We tried a little bit of AR, VR in the past to show how the product would look. But those have all been kind of clunky technologies so far. The usage has been very, very limited. Now with AI coming in, I think we are starting to feel that we're going to be able to solve that problem in a much more efficient way. The ability for a consumer to visualize how a new product will look in their room, in their home setting, which products would fit better, how will they fit. So a combination of AR, VR, along with AI, I think can unlock a significant, can solve a significant, choke point that exists in the consumer journey today.
Great. So, we have about 6 minutes. So I'm going to open it for questions because that's the most important. But one thing for entrepreneurs out there who want to look for a takeaway, I think there's an opportunity for quick commerce in both their spaces. So maybe that's an idea you guys can take away from. That being said, open to questions.
Hi Vivek, I'm Chetan and this is for you. I've been Urban Dad and customer for almost 14, 15 years since very beginning. And I've seen what appears to me of it moving to the marketplace setup. Earlier, I used to see only Urban Dad, then other vendors also. So from the business perspective, how it has been for you from the customer experience when Urban Dad moved from a single vendor to a marketplace?
So, it's been an interesting ride. We got into this marketplace business a few years back where we felt that gaps that were existing in our product portfolio would get kind of filled in with some of these marketplace vendors that we would bring in. But it's a difficult problem. It's not an easy one to solve. And we have kind of learned through quite a few mistakes we have made along the way. The quality of the product, the delivery experience is very, very critical in this category. And today, I can tell you, even though 90% of our business still comes from Urban Ladder brand, 10% is coming from all of these. The number of calls that our call center gets on the marketplace business is 10x of what we get on Urban Ladder. So while we have tried hard to kind of curate and make sure the quality standards are adhered to, it still remains quite a bit of a challenge. We don't want to become a marketplace with like 10,000 suppliers listed on our platform because it just starts to get very, very unmanageable and it dents the quality, the perception of the Urban Ladder brand itself. So I think for anybody considering this, tread with caution is what I would recommend.
Any other questions? You want? Okay. Oh, they're gone.
Hi, this is a question on, aged, support for the aging population. Is there any special you can say, designs that you have for independent living and aged population?
Yeah, coincidentally that you're asking that, about a year back, we've launched a complete series just for senior living. So this is not only a thoughtful design, again, going back to Naresh's slide, for the different age groups, we have different categories. So this is, active senior living to assisted senior living and anywhere in between. We have various different products. Simple things. I mean, just like in some of our cars, if you slide your foot under the, the boot, the boot opens up. You don't have to really press. So something similar to that for even your flaps in your kitchen, etc. I'm just giving you one or two examples, but the bathrooms are designed a bit differently for senior living, which is more conducive for them, etc. So we have a range of products which we have now introduced. It's recent; it's about a year old, but it's catching on pretty fast. Just to, yeah.
Hi, sir. This is for Srikanth, sir. Sir, just wanted to ask, like,
Can you speak to the mic? Can't hear.
Little bit louder, yeah.
yeah. So, I don't know whether to ask this question or not, but one mistake which you made while scaling up HomeLane, maybe, young entrepreneurs should avoid that.
Oh, many mistakes. How much time do you have? Initially, when we started HomeLane, we thought we would be the answer to the unorganized market, which means that a customer typically wants the plumbing, the civil work, the carpentry work, the electrical work, the wallpaper, the painting, and anything else that you can think of to be done by one vendor. Typically, that's what we want, right? We want a contractor, that guy will do everything. I'll deal with one person, and hopefully, that's what we were trying to replace. What we realized was it was impossible to replace that. Simply because the experience with the unorganized vendor is bad because he's trying to do 10 different things. Just because you are not an unorganized vendor and you're a company, you cannot assume that you will be able to do the 10 different things at scale in many cities at the same time. It's literally impossible. It's like one vendor having 10 hands, like the old gods, 5 hands on each side and each one doing one thing in parallel. It's just impossible. So we tried to replace the contractor, failed miserably, I must say. I don't know if you know what NPS is, the Net Promoter Score for happiness, measure happiness of a customer. First time I realized about 6 months after I started HomeLane that NPS could be negative. It was minus 27 once when I saw it. And that was when I realized that we were absolutely going the wrong direction and we could not. Maybe some other day I can spend some time on how we corrected that. But yeah, so that was one of the large mistakes, which is basically we tried to do too many things at the same time and did everything badly.
Yeah, I think let's end it. Maybe any questions for? Excuse me. Oh, there's a lot of people. Yeah, but we are running out of time. Only 20 seconds. We'll take one last question.
Yeah.
One or two. Yeah. Yeah. After her. You.
Yeah, please.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Srikanth, and hi, Rajiv. I'm Sampath from Vasam Solutions.
From?
Vasam Solutions.
Okay.
Earlier, it was V3 Engineers.
Oh, yeah.
We are a whole player in the furniture segment. My question to both of you is, how much you are into net zero? Green buildings are going to be the norm in the future. And every product you design or every home you design should go towards green. Because by 2070, India is to be net zero. Though the top conglomerates have taken an oath, Reliance by
Can you ask the question? Because we have to.
Yeah. How close are you towards the green solutions? Both
Sure.
of you.
Do you want to go first? So we at all times are on the lookout for trying to move closer to green. Are we net zero today? Absolutely not. But we're very, very cognizant of that. For example, for the core material that we use, as you know, India is a ply-loving country, and whether we like it or not, consumers just love to use ply everywhere. not very, very big fans of particle board for some reason, even though the West has completely moved towards particle board. But having said that, we always are on the lookout for products which can actually cater to consumer demand, but also be, so for example, the glues that we use today are completely, I mean, Pidilite is one of our main vendors and partners, and we make sure that we have the ones which are the least damaging towards the environment. We try and use new material all the time. We are experimenting. Somebody was speaking about husk. So we are trying as we speak. There are some other new materials. I've met at least 3 or 4 companies in the last 1 year who are trying new, much more eco-friendly materials. We keep trying. Has there been any decisive movement on the main products? I don't think there is. But I think these would be slow, measured, incremental shifts which will happen, which will go towards this one. So I don't think we are there yet, but I would definitely say in the next 5 to 10 years, we should definitely get there.
I think similar response. It's a journey. We're all on that journey. I think nothing else to add.
I think you had a question for a long time.
Hi, Srikanth. So my question to you would be about your omnichannel strategy. So this is something that Vivek touched upon. HomeLane has experience centers in multiple parts throughout Bangalore and other cities as well. What role would you say that this experience center plays in converting a customer and ultimately bringing them back on board? And I have a question for Vivek as well. Cart abandonment, big issue for anyone in the online shopping category. I'm very curious to see how in a category like home furnishing, is this really a problem, or would you say you have a higher conversion rate for customers?
Sure. I'll go first. The store, please sit. The store is an integral part of the sales process for us. Every lead that HomeLane gets mostly originates online. About 60% of the leads originate online, 20% are referrals, and 20% are offline today. 100% of the leads consummate offline, which means it's a 10 lakh purchase. It's not like I'm buying a shirt, oh, I like this color, okay, this is XL is my size, so I'm just picking up the shirt. Doesn't work like that. People want to touch and feel. It's also a family purchase. You want to buy it with your family, your kids, your parents, your spouse, etc. So that's what happens. So the experience centers are a necessary point of meeting for the designer to showcase the different finishes, the different budgets, etc. Especially for a ticket size, which is the second largest ticket size after the house itself. So it's absolutely necessary. From day 0, we've been very clear. Ours is not an online business. It's an omni-channel business, and we have stuck to that.
All right. On the abandoned cart question specifically, furniture tends to be a fairly long purchase journey. Typically, consumers take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to make a decision. So we see a lot of people adding, our products to cart, but then pausing, thinking, deliberating, going around. So, our experience centers are a great help sometimes to kind of convert those abandoned carts. What look like abandoned carts to it might have been discovered online, it might be an abandoned cart online, but then they go to the store, look at the product, experience the product, and finally convert. But yes, to your point, we are not like, I used to be part of NetMeds, which was an online pharmacy. In our case, the conversion rates, if you will, tend to be fairly low because a lot of people keep looking at product, keep browsing in, and then, online conversions rate. Offline conversion rates would be 50% and online would be 1-2%.
Okay, thanks guys. This is amazing. And I want to thank Srikanth, Vivek for being part of this. Thank you.
We would want all of you to stay back onto the stage, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Fireside Chat, what an opening, what a session. A big round of applause one more time for all the 3 of them on the stage, please. A little something from our side, a small token of thank you. May I please request Mr. Arun BJ to kindly come and join us, please. Co-founder, CEO, Clean Fanatic Inc. to kindly present a small token of thank you from our side for panelists, moderator, everybody, and followed by a picture. more importantly. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time. A brilliant fireside chat.